Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Unscripted. This show is sponsored by Paxton, commonly referred to as PAX, a meme coin project on the Solana blockchain positioned as a community-driven token inspired by the popular Pudgy Penguins NFT ecosystem. Go check them out, and CA will be in the comments. And remember, always do your own research, not financial advice. Tonight's story does not begin with success, visibility, or certainty. It begins in the quiet moments most people never see, where survival and belief exist side by side. Long before any titles or online recognition, she was navigating adulthood without a safety net, learning what it meant to rely fully on herself while still holding onto a future she hadn't yet touched. Her early years were marked by instability, sacrifice, and unrelenting drive for independence. She worked multiple jobs, slept in her car, on beaches, and in temporary spaces, not as a story to tell later, but as a reality she lived while testing her own limits. Those seasons shaped her discipline, humility, and resilience, forming the mindset that would later define her approach to entrepreneurship, community, and leadership. This chapter wasn't about building a brand. It was about building herself, discovering who she was when everything felt uncertain, and learning the strength it takes to keep moving forward when quitting would have been easier. Tonight, we go unscripted with the one and only Shanice Best, aka Profits, also known as Profits Over Wages on X.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Woo! That was a introduction. Holy shit! Where? How'd you get all that information?
You know,
you need to
gotta research, right? Gotta research, gotta do my due diligence and research my guests.
Absolutely, he did that. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm very excited. I think this is probably one of the few podcasts / I guess streams that I'm super honored to even just bring energy to. I get asked a lot to do stuff. I should probably do more, but you know how I am, man. I don't like to get on people's platforms unless I really know like who they are and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Leslie, you've been killing it all the years I've known you. It's been almost what, 5 years now, I think. Kind of
A
wild.
long time.
And the
Oh,
energy and the love every time we see each other is like always like authentic and real and genuine. And I just really appreciate that about you. And I appreciate you always holding space for me, even at times where I'm like, she's not ready for this, but I'm about to crash out, and I crash out right there in your ear, wherever we are.
yes.
And you're always so just open and giving love, and I look up to you. Honestly, I look up to you. I've seen your journey. I've seen a lot of the things you've dealt with, both good and bad, and the way you've handled it publicly is I take my hat off to you, and like I said, it's very inspiring, and I learned a lot from you. So thank you for having me today. I appreciate it.
Shanice, that is such a beautiful thing for you to say. But tonight is not about me. It's about you, girl. And let me tell you, I appreciate what you said because, the journey and building your own brand by yourself is not an easy one. And you are a testament to that. And I think the feeling is mutual. I've always looked up to you. It's like I've been around your journey from the ups and downs, the obstacles, and how you prevailed and continue to push through. And I think in this space, we do not humanize the people. It's like we always see what they're building, we always see the now and where they are, but nobody ever really highlights the struggles and what you had to go through to get to where you are. And I also look up to you a lot, from where you were to now building your brand, building a media, partnerships, traveling the world, and just bringing more visibility to this space into what you are building. But I do want to ask you, when you look back at the version of yourself before anyone knew your name, what do you remember feeling most? Fear, hope, or determination while you were building?
Uh, Shit. I feel like there's levels to this answer, but in the very very beginning, even before Web3, when I started this entrepreneurial journey of just something other than a job, I think I was more determined because I was broke and I was hungry, literally, and I was just wanting to just figure out how this works. And then when I learned, okay, for example, I was started off with like multi-level marketing, direct sales, digital, stuff like that, door to door even. So what I learned, really, it's a sales thing, but it's also a life thing. Was, well, the only way that people will buy from you is if they trust you. How are they gonna trust you if you can't be a million places IRL at once? What's the next best thing? Get a camera on you. So then I started to like, post my lifestyle and what I'm doing, right? Very early, 20, 21 years old. And so I think that part started to get a little bit scary only because I learned very quickly the internet is not a nice place, right? And then also, when I got over the fear of like bad comments and things of that nature, honestly, I was untouchable, and to this day, don't get me wrong, it's nerve wracking when you put the camera on. You want to do a skit, you have an idea, you want to shoot a video. It's always nerve wracking. If anything, it gets easier, but it's always going to be a little scary even for a second. But to answer your question, I think I was more determined at first, just because I was desperate to figure out something new. I was desperate to pretty much like break my bloodline of, like, don't get me wrong, I have my family worked really hard to get to where they are now, but
Mhm.
nobody like like for my bloodline, I graduated college, let alone which way that means something, but let alone even really like amounted to much more than like the average job. And
Yeah.
so I realized back then that I was like over here breaking all these generational curses and all these things, through me just being confident and determined, right? So to answer your question, I think it was more determined than anything.
Yeah. I think sometimes you don't realize where you want to go, what you need to do, and that drive and determination until you really hit rock bottom and you have to begin to rebuild from nothing and rebuild the foundation. But I think that when you find yourself in that space, it's like there are so many ways that you can go because the only way is going up, and then that's where you have to decide, okay, what is next for me? When is or was there a moment for you early on when you realized, you know what? No one is coming to save me. This is just on me.
Uh, Yeah, so I had got this opportunity when I was 21. I was basically renting out a room with another person that I didn't know. But I chose this. I wanted to be in the scene, right? I wanted to be here in Miami. So this was like South Beach. This was like 2012, 13.
Mhm.
So pretty much got kicked out of school slash dropped out, bad grades, if you will. I went to school for photography. So it wasn't like I was like purposely flunking. It was that it cost a lot of money to produce pictures and shoot things every single week, and I kept falling behind because I couldn't afford it. And so basically, I guess when I started to like figure out like, okay, what are you gonna do, like what's your choice here, I think that's when a lot changed for me. So like for
Yeah.
example, I left Florida when I was 21 to California, and the opportunity was to like start going some helping some company to grow weed or something, right? And I was like, okay, cool, this is gonna set me up. Now the crazy part of the story is the person that sent me tells me midway through this flight, I've never been in this fucking city in my life. Hey, the accommodations I had for you, I don't have them for you anymore. You're gonna have to figure it out. And I'm just like, literally with this stranger, which is his cousin. We're both across the world. Like he just said that. Like he just said that we got to figure it out. And Airbnb kind of had just came out and all that, so I wasn't like super comfortable with it. Like you're in the air, like, oh, let's figure out. Like now, I book flights across the world the hour before, not worried at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't have money like that then, right? Maybe like $39 in my bank account. And then on top of that, didn't like have any resources or like, Airbnb wasn't as lucrative as it is now. So I think to answer your question, when I realized, oh, no one's coming to save me, I didn't want to. I had already told my whole family leaving to Cali, did this little getaway barbecue for me and everything. I didn't want to hit anybody up and be like, hey, something's going on with my plans. I was so scared. Like I didn't want anybody to worry. And
Yeah.
so while I'm there, I realize, this is another part of your journey slash test. Are you gonna really like stick to it? And the reason I thought this way was because when I was about 19 in college, I learned the law of attraction, which I'm sure we've all heard of. I had watched The Secret for the first time, which is a documentary about what the law of attraction means. So I was in this new mind state of adopting what that meant and how that looked, and basically you attract what you think, what you speak, things of that nature. So instead of me going and being scared, as I naturally would have been or anybody else, I think I realized at that point, like, you know, you could call somebody and yeah, your mom or somebody maybe could send you some money and get you, but like, you know, I don't want to do. I just want to make this work, and so I think that moment mixed with like me actually taking action, and that wasn't the only time where I got scared and something occurred. Right? It's been, I don't know. I'm about to be 33. It's been 12 years now. We've all have our ups and downs. They always say new levels bring new devils, right? You don't things don't become easier. You get better, right? So once I adopted that mindset, everything it doesn't matter. Like I pretty much can go through anything, and I'll make it out the other side. So I think I realized when I was young, like 21, I didn't like asking for help. I still don't like asking for help to this day. And I was like, this I'm going to prove to myself if I could really do this or not, if I have the determination to do it. And I figured it out. It's funny because like 2 years later, I shared that story with like my mom. And she's like, I can't believe you didn't hit me up. Why didn't you contact me? And I was like, it's okay. I didn't want you to worry. And shout out to a good friend. She's not on Twitter or anything, but super good friend for over 15 years now. I actually contacted her. Out of all people, I said, I need $60, bro, for like 4 days. And I made that $60 last, let me tell you. And she didn't ask questions and she sent it. And I sent it right back right away when I was able to. And that little help was all I needed for me to be like, all right, you know what? We got this. We're gonna figure this out. And I did, and I figured it out. So to answer your question, it was a very young age. I learned that no one's coming to save you. The world is turning regardless. The wars are gonna happen, the government's gonna happen, you're gonna get your heart broke, like all this shit's gonna occur. It's literally up to you to either like respond and execute a plan, or to react and to panic and then kind of conform into whatever problem you're experiencing at the moment. That was long
Now,
winded.
No, that was good. Actually, it was great because there's probably a lot of people that are in, a similar situation where it's like they're starting from rock bottom. Things happen and we just look at the success. And right now, if everybody has seen your journey and they're seeing what you're doing right now, you've already had success. So before success entered the room, what did your survival actually look like day by day? And getting out of that, it's like walk us through
Oh, I
what
I love the
surviving was day by
like,
day.
I never really got to answer these nitty gritty questions just because, like, this is like the first 5 years of my journey. I'm at the second part of that now, right?
Yeah.
Well, to answer your question, I had found a really sweet couple that had actually two big properties. So we couldn't afford the first one, but they said, "Hey, we actually have another home that you guys could rent out a room." And so the new plan was we're gonna stay here in Cali for 2 weeks. I'm gonna figure out some way to like make some money too, because I was making some money online. I was making like $600 online from what I was selling, what I was doing. So I was like, I'm gonna wait for that and then buy our tickets back home and then reset and then replan. And so, for those that don't know, or maybe you've seen me, I definitely smoke weed, from time to time. And I remember we were literally, me and this kid were making a half a gram of weed last like a week and a half. It's a small amount of weed using this little bong we made. And then on top of that, we were eating, what was it? In Cali, they have Pollo Loco and this other rinky dink taco spot. Literally the best dollar tacos I ever spent in my life, like better than Taco Bell over here on the East Coast. So I was like living off of like really, really bad, cheap, shitty food for those 2 weeks. But this is the kicker right here. I'm actually really happy you asked this. I met this woman. Her name is Taylor. Shout out to Taylor. Very, very like smart, older woman and very spiritual. And she taught me how to meditate. So every morning we would go to the backyard and she had this like
Mhm.
ritual thing where she goes to the backyard, she cuts up an orange, she squeezes oranges, makes fresh orange juice, sits back there. It's cold as shit, by the way, in the morning in Cali. So 7 in the morning, we get up and we meditate, do like a guided meditation with her. And I was doing that every single day while I was there. And I swear I was like transforming my brain and my nervous system into something that I had never experienced before because all the things I was all concerned and worried about just started to not feel as heavy. They were there
Mhm.
still. I had to figure out how to get back home. I had to figure out what I was going to do, but like it wasn't as heavy. And so
Yeah.
through this little, I called it a pause, right? Because I couldn't just up back to Florida. By the way, I have like somebody like a partner I'm talking to at the time, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And luckily we were talking every single day. So that also helped a bit, right? With like staying calm and everything. But through that little 2, 3 week patch, I met a shaman and I met all these like different, well, all these people are her friends. They would come over. We would, some guy put like, first time I ever smoked a blunt with like mint inside of it. It was like, what the hell? I mean, it wasn't drugs. It was literally just like some extra herbal. Anyway, all these different experiences and different perspectives I was learning from just completely took me out of my reality and gave me this like hope and inspiration that
Mhm.
you don't know what's gonna happen, but you're gonna be fine. Like literally, I remember telling myself this like, no money in the account, credit score shit, no credit cards, nothing. Just was like, you're gonna get this. You're gonna figure this out. And then ultimately got a plane ticket back home and I went fucking hard online for all the things I was working on at the moment. This is like 2012 going into 13. The girl I was dating at the time luckily had a sister that was traveling abroad while here in Miami. So I was staying in this high rise that I didn't own. I didn't, but it would inspire me every day. I was waking up with barely any money in my account, looking at this amazing view in Miami on the laptop, figuring it out, trying to learn, and then I started leveling up, making more money, and then 2014 I had officially moved to California, and literally the rest is history. I went to 2014, broke as a joke, slept in my car for 2 weeks, and I spent 8 years there, and I built my resources, my network, my net worth. And everything that I pretty much have today through that 8 year journey. I always say Cali, I wasn't born there or anything, but it helped me grow up. I lived there through my 20s, and I literally grew up living in California, right? So that's like a 10-year story, and like trying to do it in like less than 10 minutes.
Look, we're going to take all the time that you need because we need to show the side that nobody sees, like the real struggle and what you had to get through to build what you're building now. Now, you you haven't really spoken about this, but you were sleeping in a car.
Yeah.
You were sleeping on beaches. What did those nights teach you about yourself that comfort never could?
Um, oh man, it's good. I will say it was definitely helpful that I had somebody with me, because
Mhm.
it's like, I'm also a protector. If you know me, I'm a protector. I'm a giver. I want everybody around me to feel good, feel safe. So I think naturally, I wanted to make sure she was always cool, like it was always okay. So I think I kind of put my emotions to the side a little bit during
Yeah.
that process, because I was already knowing, cool, this 2 weeks is gonna pass. And the reason it was 2 weeks is because, like I said, I was getting a set check of like 600 to 800 bucks a month from what I was doing online. And then so I knew, hey, we have 2 more weeks to this next check. I have this much money. If we wait the 2 weeks, get that next check, we have enough to move into our own studio. So
Mhm.
that made sense to both of us. Like, yeah, let's thug it out. It was funny. I had a friend, shout out to Phil. His cousin happened to be in the Coast Guard, or excuse me, in the military. I forgot what lane, but in San Diego. So there's a forgot what it's called, but there's like a base. There's a base there. So he lives in
Mhm.
a cool apartment, and his cousin's not there. He's like, oh, you could stay here. So originally the plan was to stay there because he's deployed. He gets home early, sees me and this girl on the bed. He's like, "What the hell's going on?" And I'm like, "Hey, I'm sorry, whatever, all good. Like we're leaving." And that's when we're like, "Okay, we're gonna have to sleep in the car now because like our first plan has backfired, right?" And so I think doing sleeping on the beach, sleeping on which honestly that shit was fun. Shout out to Ocean Beach. I literally saw. If you guys know Luna's a schnauzer, I remember seeing this older looking schnauzer with dreads. I think that's maybe why I fell in love with schnauzers back then, maybe like subconsciously. Dude, it had dreads, and then his owner was like this cool hippie couple, and we would always see them and hang out with them and eat fruit and just chill on the beach. And honestly, it showed me humility. It showed me how to be more humble. Again, I've always been naturally giving, but I think it really, really taught me compassion, and it taught me like everybody in life has their own journey in their own way, but it's just like how you perceive it. And that's kind of why I got perspective tatted on me now, because like perception is everything. You literally could, feel like your world is ending and I'm so hungry, I'm starving, I haven't eaten 6 hours, and you're here, living in a fucking 2,000 square foot high rise, and your Uber Eats is just taking for fucking ever. Meanwhile, there's a kid in another country that won't even eat food for the next 5 days, right? Perspective. And so I know that's kind of cliche, but I feel like we don't do that enough, where we like sulk in our we have the ability to sulk in our own shit, not realizing, dude, somebody has it way worse than you, right? And so
Yeah.
what it taught me, perspective and like humility, right? Like anything is possible, and anybody can be in any situation at any time.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. It's like the journey, this is what we don't hear about. And I think there are a lot of people that do go through that. It's like they go through a fallout, they go through hardship, and some people really do feel ashamed. Sometimes you're at a certain level and then you fall and nobody wants to talk about it. Did you ever feel shame around how hard things were, or were you too focused on moving forward to look back?
That's a great question. I think because I was starting and I had no idea what it even meant to taste any sort of success, I
Yeah.
think it didn't matter. So I necessarily didn't feel shameful. I will say I wasn't out here posting all those clips, right?
Yeah.
On my lifestyle stuff and Instagram and everything. Like I wasn't doing that, but I definitely was like now I share it, like I actually documented it, but just never shared it, knowing that I will eventually share it one day. This is a little, I guess, little thing I have I'm working on that I haven't really shared yet, but I have like 50 memory cards and I have like 2 laptops full of content. And I am in the middle of finding somebody to completely go through all that stuff and literally make like a 10-year documentary of my life. I know it's going to be really wild, but like I want to do that. That's like one thing I'm really working on this year, and it's going to cost me a good amount of money, but I'm okay with that because I think it'll be awesome. But yeah, I think there was no real shame because it was still I was still fresh, I was still starting. There was definitely there was some hardships for sure because um again, I was in a relationship. I started all this in a relationship. She shout out to that first relationship. She was there through thick and thin, held me down through everything, always there for me no matter what. And I think what happened though was I was working even harder, and no no regrets, nothing. But I was working even harder because I was providing for two people.
Mhm.
So like, I don't think I never really truly tasted my like the fruits of my success honestly until the last like few years because I was always like doing it for two. So like when you do it for just one and you hit certain levels, it's like, yeah. You do it for two and you do it and it's like normal. It's like cool, we got food, we got rent, and we can go out from time to time. But like the last few years, and I don't know, I am single. This is the longest I've ever been single, but like I think through I was also some people don't talk about this enough, but I was healing. I hadn't done therapy yet. I was still going through a whole bunch of trauma. The relationship wasn't toxic, but we were definitely both going through our own things, healing in our own ways. So through like all the struggle and financial issues plus that, um,
Mhm.
that is like what kind of maybe if there was shame that would come in or anything like that, it'd be because I'm like operating or I'm reacting or I'm triggered by something through from trauma that I didn't realize. And honestly, like, you know, through the years and meeting different people and traveling and making more money, I've been very, very grateful to like be able to afford, mental health services, for example, like talk therapy, or like one of the biggest things I've done, which I highly recommend everybody do, is some sort of like leadership training. There's stuff called Landmark. I've never done that, but I know that's very popular. I
Mhm.
invested in something called LIT in 2016, which was like a 3-month program, and you ideally do it with a group of friends. And my group of friends were getting mad at me because I was like didn't want to do it. And the morning of, they're like, "Come now! Like you need to come! Like we'll pay for you! Like just fucking come!" And I'm like, "Whatever, dude." And this is 2016. I had dread still at the time, and I won't go too deep in this, but just to give you an idea, basically what we were doing was different activities that signified something going through, like what we're going through in life. So, like, you could ask a basic question, like, what do you think about this situation? And based off how you answered, it would be like, hey, what does that mean for you? Or what's coming up for you? We would do these different activities. Like, one wild activity was, and it wasn't a cult. I swear to God, it wasn't a cult. Some people be like, what? I can see why people think that. But one of the activities we did, we had to lay in the cemetery for 10 minutes. And it was
Oh, wow.
dark. And we were in a group, it was secure. It wasn't like, and unfortunately that weekend, I had just learned that a childhood friend had got like gunned down.
Oh,
And so
wow.
I'm like, bro, I gotta go lay in this right now, bro. And then all I could think about is my friend. But what it brought to me was I didn't really drink enough. What's it called? My nootropics today, so I'm losing words. But basically, it showed me literally in it like in my face, life and death, and what matters
Yeah.
and what doesn't matter. There's a word for it. Maybe it'll come up in a second. But like that right there, like complaining about, somebody made you mad or dog, none of that matters when you could die whenever. So I
Mhm.
was put to the test. I was put in like life, like death was put in my face. And I think that showed me and taught me, and forever I've taken it forever. It's gonna be a part of me forever. But it just literally showed me right then and there, like, hey, like you're not promised tomorrow. Stressing and all this extra shit and worrying and concerning and all these things. Don't get me wrong, there's things that you can't control and you get sad, like I get that. But overall, like like I was literally faced with like, are you gonna just let shit get the best of you, or are you gonna just live like every day is your last? And that's what it showed me. There's a word for it. I'm gonna come up with it in a second. I don't know why I can't think of it, but basically, like death put in my face and realizing tomorrow's not promised and don't hold back. Fucking just do, just execute. Love hard, work hard, play hard, be a good fucking friend, be as kind as possible because you don't know what the other person's going through. And on top of that, you don't know how much longer you have on this earth. So
Absolutely. And it's a beautiful thing when you do have those people that come in where you are at a broken place and they help you rebuild and they're there for you and there's no expectation. Now, how much of your resilience came from mindset and how much of it came from faith?
that's such a good question. Honestly, these days the resilience comes more from faith than anything. Um,
Mhm.
back then, when I was, because I started with, like I said, direct sales and MLM and all that, the number one thing they shove down your throat is self development. And I think that's one of the best things about those industries, as much as bad things it gets and bad reps it gets. It literally
Yeah.
will show you how to think better. Anybody can say, "Oh, I failed, I didn't make money." If you learned anything from that shit and you took even 6 months of anything, you learn mindset, and that's enough. But yeah, so I was obsessed with. This is actually where my name came from, profits over wages. I was obsessed with self development. Um,
Mhm.
I'm talking about I was literally like, if I felt any ounce of depression or sadness, I would put
Yeah.
on a Tony Robbins audio. I would put on a Jim Rohn audio. Jim Rohn, shout out to Jim Rohn, man. Rest in peace, the late great Jim Rohn. Highly recommend you guys listen if you haven't to one of his audios. He used to say something. He said, "You don't get things don't get easier, you get better." And then he would say, profits are better than wages. Word for word. That's how he would say, profits are better than wages. He had that little voice. And I was like, I like that. That's hard. And I said, profits over wages. That's like, that was my name. That was my Instagram name. And then I just rhymed with that. That was like literally 12, 13 years ago. And yeah, so at first I was definitely hypnotized by self development. Also, Tony Robbins has a really good audio. I can't remember the name, but it basically it's based off of how you talk to yourself and the quality of questions that you ask yourself. 80%, 70% of the conversations that we have are with ourselves. So if we're here like, oh my God, damn dumbass, why did you do it this way? Like if you're constantly talking to yourself like that, what energy you think, is gonna come out? So I started to learn, even when sad, even when depressed, even when down, okay, how can I ask a better quality question to myself to reframe this? And that slowly started to tweak how I thought. So in the beginning, absolutely was mindset based. Don't get me wrong, I've always believed in God. I've always been a prayer. I've always been spiritual. But the last 5 years, also with being saved, I just got saved in the last few years as well for the first time ever, as well as being
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you so much, as well as being baptized. Like I've
Yeah.
never really like that never happened. My parents didn't force that on me, so that happened in the last 5 years, and for
That
sure,
is freaking amazing.
feel the difference. I feel his armor. And more than ever, I do this a lot. It's kind of why I literally spent $200 on a fucking gym membership because I love the steam room and the sauna. But it's like my favorite quiet time to speak to God and just to, I mean, I speak to God anywhere, but it's one of my
Yeah.
favorite places to do it. And for everything, both good, bad, everything, I talk to him about it no matter what. And
Definitely your best friend. God is your best friend. Let me tell you, I've been through the storms, and once you make God your priority, He will get you through everything and anything. And then that's where you learn your lessons, your skill set, the tools of how you are going to take yourself out of whatever you are.
right.
Now, tell me, how did you put yourself back together in those moments where you felt broken and you're just like, okay, I'm completely broken. I don't know which way I'm going to go. And,
Um,
you just begin to put yourself back together.
so two answers to that. The first part of the journey, I think one of the broken moments I had was when me and my first partner broke up after like almost 4 years. And I remember because I was like just starting to really like catch my lane, and I started a new business and I was doing really well. And I was just really depressed, right? Just really sad.
Mhm.
And this is actually when I became obsessed with like yoga and like the sauna and all this. This was 2018. Um, and I was literally doing two hot yoga sessions, classes a day. If anybody did a hot yoga class, it's like an hour and you're sweating, you're literally like in a sauna doing moves. And that's how I would like regulate my nervous system every day because I was just so sad. And then became, super obsessed with the gym as well. And really not for body, not for physique, for mindset. And so some call it a vice. Some people have their other ways, of doing so. I wasn't super, super like financially good yet. So like,
Yeah.
some people like to go to the club and go hang out with friends, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, I didn't have the means to do that like that in LA. So I didn't really, luckily, I didn't really resort to that as much as I maybe now, if I have a bad day or whatever, yeah, I'm stepping out, I'm gonna go dance or clear my mind. Like it's a different, but yeah, back then it was the gym, it was yoga, it was learning breath techniques. Like the Wim Hof method is like my favorite breathing technique. Shadow work, sound healing, really, really big on sound healing, sound bowls as well.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to now, I think when something occurs or something happens, like for example, I think the most tragic thing I went through recently was losing my little cousin in July. I just learned being still and giving yourself that space, because I'm big on like, figure it out, come on.
Yeah.
And when you're in that mode of like being sad and grief, it's like, it's okay. You don't have to figure out anything right now. You could just be. And so now I try to take all the tools that I've learned from talk therapy, from working out, from writing. Sometimes I like to write in my journal. I just try to take all the tools I learned from all the hardships that I did go through over the years and just do them when something is going on, when something is wrong. So yeah, I'm big on
Yeah.
the gym. That's like a non compete for me. Like I have to go to the gym at least like 3 or 4 times a week. I have to hit the sauna, steam room. That's how I like reset my nervous system. That's how I reset, how I feel. The last few years, you've been there. You witnessed some shitty shit occur, right, in public. And old me would like probably crash out in a bad way, and it be rightfully so. I have the right to do so, but like,
Yeah.
um, I think I'm a crier. I'll say that I've always been a crier, and I'm still a crier. Like
Yeah.
I remember, I barely got into fights growing up, but when I did, I remember like literally beating up the person while crying. Like that's just how I am. I'm just like just natural. I'm just emotional. But I guess now as I'm older and these things are gonna happen, and it's, if anything, to be real, it's been even more wild to see how like fucking bold some people are, like in our space at our
Oh my
age.
goodness
You get
gracious,
me?
yes.
So you would be even more angry at this shit. But like, yeah, I think I've really come to peace, and this is where I think my faith is really big here. I've basically come to understand that hurt people, and when people do things to you, they're reacting to how they are as a human and how they think of life. And sometimes they're in survival mode. You got 40-year-old
Mhm.
people still in survival mode. They
Yeah.
make money, they have resources, all the things, but they still think in survival mode. Therefore, anybody that is not them, they're like, oh no, I gotta treat them, I gotta do this to them because this is how I'm wired. So I think what's kept me sane, and don't get me wrong, shit happens all the time and I'm like, what the fuck? But
Yeah.
like, what's kept me sane is going into perspective, like I say, and saying and realizing, you know what, this person's operating like this because of this is how they were brought up, this is how they think. This has nothing to do with you, Shanice. This has everything to do with them. And that brings me peace in a way. Alex Hormozy made a post, I don't remember word for word, but I quote tweeted it or reposted it, basically saying, when I get very angry and want to retaliate towards somebody that did something bad to me, all I do is think about how they have to wake up in the morning and be who they are. And that right there is worse than anything in the world, and I don't have to deal with that, right? Something like that. Basically, that person has to live with who they are and be who they are, and I don't have to be that way, right? I don't have to live in that body or live in that, you know, thought process. So that's how I try to think of it. That's what brings me peace when people do shitty shit.
You know what? And I think protecting your peace at all costs, even if it means losing friendships, losing people in your life, it is crucial for the human that you are or the human that you want to be.
Yeah.
I am a big believer too. It's like, we are in control of our emotions. So it doesn't matter the output of other people. What matters is, are we going to accept that input and what value are we going to add to how they behave towards us? And if we don't add value or meaning and be like, you know what, however you want to be, it's none of my business, it's yours. You don't assign meaning, feelings to it, and you move on. But you've been very open about experiencing profound loss, going through what you've gone through in this space because it hasn't been easy for you. How did grief and what you've been through in this space change the way that you define strength?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, I think, I took a little break when that happened, and I hadn't never taken a break ever in like
Mhm.
years. But I took a true break, um, like not doing anything, not really, just maybe a little tweeting, but literally no work, calendar off, like just not doing anything. And I think through that time, I learned that, again, life is short, as I always say, but like I really just realized, yo, you give everything to this platform, your blood, sweat, tears, everything, energy, and life still goes on no matter what. And
Mhm.
you know, my mental health and my just myself is just taking a toll here. And I realized, yo, you have this platform, you built this up. It's not going anywhere. It's okay to take breaks, right? And that kind of leads me to like for example, the end of the year last year, like 25 to 26, you know how that weird Christmas, New
Yeah.
Year little break. Um, I also was kind of distracted, so that kind of helped. But I really just I had first when I was like, oh, we're gonna take a couple of days off, and then I was like, you know what? We're gonna take a couple more days off. I also was like, I didn't like go home for the holidays like I normally do, which is like weird. I always do that. Family was kind of all over, and I was like, all right, I don't want to choose where to go. Fuck y'all. I'm just gonna be alone for this. I'll text and FaceTime everybody.
Yeah.
So I think that true alone time, that true just normally at the end of the year, I'm scrambling, I'm all over the place, I'm here, I'm traveling, I'm doing this, and then I get back, it's the new year, and then boom, back to work, right? So like
Yeah.
I really, really gave myself this true like reset, and I think that I allowed myself to do that because of when I went through the grief stuff in July. I realized how okay it is to not be doing anything because I would always feel guilty. I'm sure you
Yeah.
deal with it too, where we feel guilty for relaxing or for not working on a work day, right? And so,
Mhm.
like, weirdly enough, that grief taught me that it's okay to take breaks and it's okay to to disconnect and then reconnect again, especially when you do have a platform. Like a lot of times, and nobody would admit this on Twitter. I'm sure you agree. Most people, they'll stay live, they stay on Twitter Spaces all the time because they're like they don't feel relevant enough. They don't feel known enough. I absolutely felt this way the first 2 years. This is what.
Yeah.
Also, you're addicted to the dopamine. You're live for four
Mhm.
hours. Likes, comments, reposts, listeners, speakers. It's giving you dopamine.
Yep.
But I would be lying if I said those times made me think you got to stay relevant, you got to stay live, you got to stay relevant, you got to stay live. So that was my mindset. And now I'm way more intentional, I'm way more specific, I'm way more like to this day I've never really structured a show, which is surprised. They're like, how the fuck, what do you mean? Don't get me wrong, I have some key points I want to go over. I'll have my you know, guest I want to interview and I have maybe some questions ready. But for the most part, it's literally like freestyle. And that's the beauty of the show. That's why the show is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like recently I felt very like it feels really good to know I turn this shit on whenever I want and it still pops off no matter what. I could be off for 2 weeks. I could be on for 2 weeks. It doesn't matter. I've established a platform and a brand people know who I am. Not trying to be cocky, but people know who I am. People know my brand, my name, and so that has given me peace. And I'm like, all this hard work, it didn't go in vain, right? And so that was a lot again, but yeah, that's how I feel now about like giving myself space, and grace, and time to heal, to take a break. Just 'cause I feel like taking a fucking break.
No, and that is so freaking raw and real. Because to say that we all don't go through that, oh, we absolutely do. I,
Yeah.
I mean, it happened to me the first two couple of years. It's like trying to be relevant, trying to be in spaces. People don't forget you. And now it's like if I want to take a day off and not really post, not really respond, just to re-energize yourself and your energy, you have to do it. And it's okay. There's weeks where I don't have shows. I have a lot going on in life. You already know, and you have to energize yourself because this could be exhausting. It is very exhausting, and it's a crazy world that we're in. But before we tap into you building your media and building what you have, I have one last question, getting deep with profits. But when you were going through all this in your hardest moments, who surprised you by not being there and who surprised you by being there? I mean, you don't have to say names, but were you kind of surprised that there were people that were very close to you and then they didn't show up when you needed them and vice versa?
That is so deep. Because I'm a loner, and like I said,
Me too.
I don't like asking for anything. Um, hmm. So I think at the time in the beginning, the girl I met, like the first relationship, we had met 2 days before I left to California, so we had just met, and we hit it off, and I charmed her, and oh my god, and I was like, hey, I'm leaving in 3 days, and she's like,
Yeah.
wait, what do you mean? And I'm like, it's already set in stone, like I'm already leaving, but you're so awesome, like let's keep texting. And so I think I was thinking that was just going to wither away because I was about to leave. But she was literally there for me the whole time while I'm in Cali going through this shit. Like, yo, I gotta figure this out. I don't know what to do. And we had just met, so I'm not over here. I don't feel comfortable asking for any money or anything like that. So I'm just like happy that someone's just there for me while I'm going through this. So I think that surprised me because that turned into a 4-year relationship. And
Mhm.
I think I learned how to trust her and honestly just want to give everything to her because I was so appreciative that she was there through like those hard weeks. And then was so reluctant and so willing to leave with me when it was maybe what, like like a year later where I'm like, all right, well, I'm moving to Cali now, it's happening, like I'm doing it, I want you to come with me this time, get a
Mhm.
car, drive there. So I think that surprised me. And then I guess surprising of like who maybe wasn't there. I mean, uh like I said, I didn't want to tell my family anything. I don't want them to worry. And I think, hmm, yeah, I think I honestly, since I didn't really have people that I would comfortably want to share with anyway, because again, I didn't want them to worry. So I think I was just more shocked at the connections and relationships that I was building through this journey because it was almost like I'm very giving. I could just meet you and I'm vulnerable. I'll give my shirt off my back if you need it. Like I'm very open. I don't have anything to hide. So
Mhm.
through that little time, I think I was appreciative and surprised at the really good close connections that I got because I was willing to be vulnerable, and then they too were also willing to be vulnerable and open and share like, hey, this is some advice for you, or this is. So yeah, I think surprising in a way where I surprised myself because I just said, hey, we've never been this way before. Granted, keep in mind, I'm always in defense mode because I've been on my own since I was 18, but I was still willing to be open and listen and understand people. And some of the best relationships I created from years ago, or I should say that I have today, were created years ago when I was in that weird mindset and that weird time.
Yeah.
So I think to answer your question, that's really what it was. It was, like I said, the relationship, and then also um, how close and how much I learned from all the people I was meeting through the new journey.
Yeah. So now moving into the space, we all enter the space. And I think for some reason we become into like survival mode, right? Trying to make it in this space.
Mm.
At what point did you stop trying to make it and start trying to build something that mattered?
Woo! Great question. 'Cause I talked about this the last couple of years. I think it's going to be 4 years now, going into 4 years. Yeah, because we just did Beat Basil #3. Um, I think I've been at this journey since 19. I'm about to be 33. It's like 13, 14 years. And I've been in the survival mindset, even not even having to be anymore, but I stayed in that
Yeah.
mindset even after. And honestly, it's been the last 3, almost 4 years, I've finally felt a little bit more grace and less survival mindset, and
Mhm.
more creative, more artistic, more willing, more like truly like a canvas. Like I really feel like that's what Beat Basil is to me. That's what Web3 exposes to me. That's what exposed media is to me. Like that's now I've found my identity, if you will, and I've found my lane. And a part of that is because I've left their survival mindset, and I've proved to myself, hey, it's okay. Rainy days will come. You've been fine on these rainy days. Look at you figuring it out as you always do. So like the figuring it out, and like the oh my god, I'm on my. I remember I used to be like, oh my god, I only got $100 left in my account, bro. I feel weird when there's less than $5,000 in my account now. Like you know what I mean? Like, um, did we lose you?
I'm back. Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I was saying like I used to feel weird when there was $100 left, and I fucking feel uncomfortable when there's like less than 5K in my account now, right? So like, um, I guess, to answer that, like it's definitely been at least 3 or 4 years where I finally have left their survival mindset. And let me tell you something, you and anybody listening, nothing feels better than creating from your heart and not because you need a bill to pay. And I think that's what I'm so passionate about, videography and photography. For those that, may not know, that was my first love. And I used to say, I don't want to pursue photography professionally because I never wanted it to feel like a job because I always enjoyed it. I literally have shot every Rolling Loud known to man the last 10 years, every artist. Um, like I love this shit. Like I enjoy it. Like I truly love concert photography is probably like my favorite. Motion photography is my favorite. And I used to say, I don't want this to be something that makes me feel like it's work. And that has been the last couple of years for me where, yeah, this has been work, but now I've been able to transform the work with my creative, right? Like my events, for example, now have become the, pretty much opportunity for brands and companies to be represented, and they're more than willing and happy to sponsor it because they see the distribution that I now have, right? And that was just me being passionate about something that I really appreciate and love enjoying, or love to do, and I truly enjoy it. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's the last 3 years or 4 years has been where I could honestly say now I've stepped out of survival mode and I'm in truly creative mode.
At what point did you say, you know what? This is what I want to do in this space. I want to create a media. And how did the birth of exposed media come to be?
So I think it was. I never thought I would. First of all, I never thought I'd even be like host a podcast or anything like that. But let alone a media company. And sometimes I go back and forth. Should I call it network? Should I call it media company? But I think I'm going to stick to media because my IRL ideas fit perfectly with that. But I
Yeah.
guess to answer your question, um, I started Web3 Exposed with an old partner. Um, that we won't name or say. He's a shithead. Why we don't talk about shitheads? Nah, but it was the name came from because before I did this, I was doing network marketing, and I did really well there. I helped two companies hit multi-millions in revenue monthly. I was 21 years old, 22 years old, making $5,000 a month, fucking living the dream. And there was a shitty point. There was a bad turning point in one of the companies, and I was learning all this bullshit. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why isn't anybody talking about this? Why isn't anybody airing this out? And this is 2014. So I make a video on Facebook, and when Facebook Live became a thing, and it was called Network Marketing Exposed. So I was going off for 10 minutes on all this shit in this industry I was dealing with. And then fast forward, I don't know what, 7 years. We're in Web3 now. And all these fucking rugs and, 2021 and all that bullshit. And I'm like, how is this not obvious to everybody? Right? Like, I'm like, you've dealt with that. I'm like, yo, are we listening? Are we literally listening to fucking Soldier Boy sell us something right now? Like all these things, and I was go on stages and I was air it out, get thrown off stage. I would share it, get thrown off stage, and I said, "Fuck it, let me go on, let me start my own thing." And that's where Web3 Exposed came out. So it started because I wanted to start a space one day, airing out something big that occurred. Ironically enough, too, I think one of the things we aired out Squiggles or something. The fucking guy's in jail now. Like, go figure. But we just wanted to talk about that topic. And then I said,
Yeah.
fuck it, what's the title for today? Web3 Exposed. And it became clickbait. And I don't give
Yeah.
a fuck for any, I don't need any recognition, especially from you Web3 dweebs. But I know for a fact that I gave you that confidence to now use clickbait. You're welcome. You're fucking welcome. So that's where that came from, where I knew it was going to draw attention and draw people, but I also knew that I was about to be exposing some shit. But yeah, to finish this answer, the media company came about. I actually shared it with the first two people I used to do the show with, and they both said it was stupid and it was a dumb idea. Now they're over here sucking off other media companies.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so they said it was a shitty idea. Don't do that's dumb. Fuck that. Rug radios, this and that, blah blah blah. I'm like, all right. Have a fallout with those people. Luckily, ends it. And I say, fuck this, bro. I'm doing this shit. I'm starting this shit. Bought the LLC, and I said, what are we gonna call it? And I was like, we're calling it Exposed Media. Just Exposed. Web3 Exposed is his own show because I'm not like all fucking weird spiritual, but like 2025 became, I think it was the year of the Aquarius or some shit, and the year of exposing and the year of ultimate revealing.
This
And
is a year of Aquarius too. You know that, right? Karma year.
maybe it's 26, but my point is I was doing all this research on like the world, like this has been the last 2 years of like all this revealing is occurring, right? Remember Epstein files started coming out the last couple of years, it started happening, all these like weird occurrences, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is good. And I'm on YouTube. I got YouTube is my life. Like I have the best YouTube algorithm. I watch the best shit. YouTube is like literally my life. I love YouTube. And I'm watching some of these videos and I'm like, damn, everybody wants to expose all of a sudden. It's like the thing to expose, right? And I'm like, bro, fuck that. You've been embodying this forever. And Web3 Exposed, as much as we have exposed some fucked up shit, it was always, always, always about speaking your truth. Period.
Yeah.
Being unapologetic, being yourself unapologetically. That's what Exposed Media, Web3 Exposed always has been. And what I learned, and I didn't even realize, but heated moments would occur, things would occur, some shit happened on the timeline, Prophets is talking about it in her space, let's go to it. I realized I created a safe space for people. People would DM me, hey, I have this I want to talk about. Can I please come to your show today to talk about it? Because I'm scared to talk about it anywhere else, or I'm scared to tweet about it to get my account taken down, right? Can I go to your show to voice it? And I'm like, damn, I'm like, I ain't God. I'm like, why do you want to come to? And I realized they feel safe because nobody's shutting them down or telling them, don't get me wrong, like bullshit, like I'm going to say something about, but like they felt safe and comfortable to air out whatever they learned, whatever they know. And so that just kept driving me and getting me excited. And shout out to the Wake and Bake boys, Marcus, Lou, Rami. I started meeting some people IRL, and I would hear, shout out to Coke, another one, and they would come up to me and they'd be like, yo, I really appreciate who you are and how you stand for yourself. And I resonate. And they'll share a story about what they do. And I'm like, damn, bro, you fuck with the vision. And I was
Yeah.
like, yo, there is so many other people like this, like me, but they don't have the platform, they don't have the time maybe, or they're scared to just to open up about it.
Yeah.
And what stemmed the idea of wanting to sign creators to expose media. And at first, not gonna lie to you, I wanted everybody under the sun. I wanted the thread guys, I wanted the GGs, I wanted the OGs, I wanted all the people under the sun. I remember telling, I think thread guy was the second person I ever told. This was right when he was still with Rug Radio. This was way before his stream. This was way before I think his regular spaces. Um, I told OG shoots. I told they were like the first two or three that I felt confident enough to be like, hey, I see you. I see what you're doing. Respectfully, I think you're being played with a little bit. I feel like you could be making more. You could be doing more. I would love to help you. And obviously didn't work with those people or anything. No hard feelings or anything like that. But I think what I realized over time, and it wasn't a lot of time at all, it was like 3 months. And then I'm like, ooh, nah, I don't want to sign everybody. Fuck that. Respectfully, by the way, respectfully, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want these poster boys and these, they got a viral name. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I want to work with the people who are hungry. I don't have to inspire. I don't have to motivate them to turn on a stream, turn on the spaces. They're going to just do it. And
Mhm.
now I'm going to reward you because you're just willingly already doing that shit. I'm going to
Yeah.
reward you for that. So, as an exposed media creator, if you get lucky enough to become a creator, anybody, you get access to full editing. We have a full editing team. You get a graphic designer. You get all your clips edited. We share a deal flow with each other. And so if you get your own deal on your own or all that, I'm not taking any percentage. None weird like that. More or less like, hey, I'm bringing you opportunities. If you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. I kind of have like a price point. Everybody kind of shares with me their price list of what they need. So it's really streamlined. Like I won't waste anybody's time. If I already know that a creator charges $1,000 for a video, I'm not going to come to them with a video that is only paying 500, right? Like I'm bringing them exactly what they need. But yeah, to answer your question, I something just hit me and it felt right, and it still feels right that I know that my voice, my platform, has created a safe space for other people that also want to speak their truth unapologetically. And there's other people like myself that also have a strong voice and a strong personality that mean well, and they're not doing this for clicks and likes. Because there's a difference. There's another part of the internet that I'm not, that
Mhm.
antagonize people, blow up people, attack people, talk shit. Like if I'm talking shit, or if you ever see me going in or a group, there's a reason. Not it's not like, oh, I'm trying to get some views. No, no, no. I either was approached, disrespected, or I'm maybe commenting on something. But it's never like out of the blue, which is a lot of what people do. And what happens is they'll get some viewership and they go right back down.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I'd rather be stable, kind of have viewership, and then blow up because of myself, not because of somebody else.
Mhm.
Yeah, to answer your question, that's where it all stemmed from. And if I'm being honest, I slept on the idea for like a fucking year because of the people I was around, not knowing that these people secretly wanted me to only be as successful as much as they can leech off of me, not because they really wanted me to be successful. And I'm happy that I fucking didn't listen and I still executed on the idea because now, we're working on some of the biggest things that event wise that I never realized that I could even be working on. And a little sneak peek, we are going to have an IRL foundation here in Miami really soon. And that's what I'm working on really hard right now. That's why I kind of been absent online. But yeah, I'm done giving you fucking sneak peeks, Leslie. I'm telling you.
You're going to give us some more at the end of the show. But okay, so you are now starting to experience success. So, as you're experiencing success, what challenges or what did success challenge you to unlearn about yourself? What are you trying to unlearn when you look back?
Uh, So I've been doing really good with this, but unlearning, like I was saying earlier, how it would really affect me when I learned somebody did something to me, especially in this space, because in this space I've been the last 5 years, I've been overly thoughtful on how I move. Not only because it is so new, maybe not as new anymore, but because my reputation is very important to me. And as soon as I tasted a little bit of what this industry can bring you, I was like, oh, I love this. Like, I don't want to, I want to be here all the time. I want this to always be what I'm into, what I'm talking about, what I'm building in. But I think I had to unlearn, like I said, letting people be who they are and leaving them where they are, and also listening to who they are the first time they tell you. Um,
Very true.
like recently I've dealt with some of the most weirdest behavior from grown ass men, keep in mind. Um, that I'm just like, what? And I was like, what is this? This is normal? And then it just dawned on me that first of all, these people don't really have what they say they fucking have. And number two, uh, like this is me talking about myself, but like, yo, you are like we are more lit than what we think, yo. Anybody out there creating, doing anything, you have a brand, there is people watching you and they're pretending not to watch you. There's people admiring you, copying your shit and pretending that they're not doing that. And so I think I've caught wind of that a lot, and it's helped me kind of like go through the emotions of like, damn, that's fucking annoying and that's fucked up, or I thought he was my friend, but it's helped me like get over it quicker. So like I guess unlearning attaching myself to the decisions that people make, because it has nothing to do with me, even though it may be involving me, but like it literally has nothing to do with me. It's just how they are.
But what do they say that when people copy you, isn't that like the best form of
Oh my god,
flattery? So
yes,
if they're copying you, it's because you're doing something right and you have the
yes,
ideas that they cannot come up with. But
exactly.
what responsibility do you feel now that people look to you for guidance or inspiration?
What responsibility?
Yeah. Do you feel any responsibility, when people are looking to you for guidance or inspiration based on everything that you're doing?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I try to always speak from like what I feel like what God would say or do in a sense, and not in a disrespectful way. More like I try to speak from love. I try to like always come. I always try to give answers from love, not from like emotionally how I feel, even if I really feel strongly about something. Um, because if I would have known 12 years ago that you know things will get easier, and trust God more and pray more, you'll feel more at peace. Every
Mhm.
single time I pray, I literally feel at peace. Like I have this like I know you feel it too, Leslie, like this like amazing,
Yes.
breath goes through you, and like you exhale deeper. Like if I would have known that back then, oh man, I would have been reading my Bible and practicing my Bible way more. But yeah, the responsibility I think I have is like I always try to not trying to like make somebody feel a certain way, whoever you pray to, or and all that good stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Pray to that. But like, I think I do have a responsibility to like share that my faith is a very important part of this whole process. And so I always try to lead with that, with less of go to the gym, and don't get me wrong, go do that shit if it helps you. Do good vices. We all have a vice. Sometimes our vice is scrolling. Some people's vice is overly drinking and going out. I don't recommend that. But if you have a good vice, like going to the gym and all that, and it's helping you, then yeah, do that. But like my biggest thing is always try to lead with the word. Like I'm not trying to be
Yeah.
cliche, I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect Christian, but like that has helped me so much, and it's given me so much peace and so many answers. So I try to really embody that and share that when I'm giving advice to people.
But you know what? None of us are perfect. And this is one of the things that we as humans, cast stones up onto others, especially when we talk about God, right? And when we talk about how we put God at the forefront, we pray, etc. And then people are like, "Oh, but you smoke or you do this or you
Right.
do that." And my answer to that is like, you know what? Let Jesus Christ work with me inside out, not outside in. And he didn't use perfect people to deliver his world. We have to be relatable to the people out there. But what
Jesus,
part of
Jesus sat
your
with sinners.
Yes. So, what part of your story journey do people misunderstand the most?
Hmm.
Or you
Uh,
can correlate it to this space, because prophets, it's like, I know you. I know you as a person. I've met you in real life. We've had great conversations, but you are kind of very misunderstood in this space
yeah, I think.
for the people that, just,
Mhm. Well, I realized that that's why content and posting is so important. I used to say when I would see people post like overly speak about something that they're into or go through, both good and bad. I used to be like, why are you speaking of yourself so much? But now I'm like, okay, this is kind of needed because like
yeah.
nobody knows, like nobody really knows. So I think the most misunderstood thing about me is my business sense,
Hmm.
because like until they have like a 20-minute Zoom call with me, literally that's all it takes is a 20-minute Zoom call. And they're like, oh, got it. Um, because, and I'm pretty sure a lot of that is like, I look young, I don't have these like fancy videos out like your favorite, fucking course seller. So when they do get to know me or get to understand me better, they understand how I think, and I'm not surface level.
Yeah.
I remember one time somebody asked me at a party. He's not gonna name his name, but he's definitely known to like launch coins and stuff. And uh, I remember he was like staring at me one day, and maybe he was intoxicated. I don't know. And I'm all dressed, wearing my little stuff, and he's just like, yo, so like, how do you make money? Like, and in my brain, I know this person has seen me for at least 2 or 3 years, knows I run my spaces, knows that I have partnerships from time to time, knows I throw events. And in my brain, I'm like, is this the drugs talking? Because like, sometimes in Web3, people let the drugs talk. I'm not gonna lie. Some of you guys like shouldn't just shut up. Once the drugs in your system, just zip it so you don't look like an idiot. But like a part of me kind of knew he was like a little intoxicated, so he doesn't even realize how he's asking this. So his like real self is coming out, and I could tell he's like confused that I look how I look, I am how I am, and I'm successful and I'm making money because so many people like this, they're a scammer or they're some sort of like rapper or whatever it is, like however whatever the fuck people have compared me to, musician, artist. And I and I remember like thinking to myself, I'm like, is this just that hard to believe, bro? Like, is it that hard to believe? Like, I don't, and it's because people judge books by their, by their covers, right? I'm fucking about to be 33. I made my first business in 2014, my first S corp in 2014, and the reason being was because I was making a transaction, and the commission I was making off the transaction, I couldn't put in my personal account. So I didn't make a business because I knew what a business was. I just knew I needed a business account. And then I learned the benefits of owning a business, and then like, what you can do, and then like credit, and then so I think the biggest misconception of me, aside from me, maybe I come off hot, maybe I come off spicy, or like people don't understand my MO. It's because they're assuming right away that whatever I'm talking about, I don't have the right to talk about because of how I look, when in reality, that's their own fault for judging somebody based off how they look. So I think that's what it is. I think it's a big misconception of like my business sense and first of all, what I've actually successfully already done. I've literally helped multiple companies hit millions in revenue from literally 2014 to now. And then aside from that, my package, like how I present this package is just like, what? You look like a fucking high school kid. So I think that's what it is. If I had to guess.
So, yeah, I think people need to get to know people before they judge, but that's human nature. What do you hope people feel when they hear your story? Not learn, but feel.
Um, that I don't take this for granted, and it means a lot to me. You
Mhm.
know, um, I enjoy this stuff. I really really enjoy what I do, especially the IRL side of it. And so when people speak to me, when people learn from me or learn about me or talk to me, whatever, the number one thing I want them to really like take away from it is that this means a lot to me, and I don't take any of it for granted. A lot of people are in these high positions, and maybe do these cool extravagant things, but then in the background it's very dirty, it's very messy, it's very nasty, and it's probably not going to last much longer. Whereas even though I know I'm kind of maybe my route's a little slower, I'm okay with that, because like I really do care about the details. I really do care about you know the feelings that people experience when they're uh, a part of something that I created. So I
Mhm.
think that's like one big thing that I want people to like know and take away from when they get to know me is like this is very important to me, and I care about it a lot.
Yeah. I do want to do some rapid fire questions with you before we close.
Yeah, go ahead.
But before we do that, last question. What truth are you walking into this next season of your life?
Truth?
Yeah. What truth are you walking into this next season of your life?
That's a good question. I think the truth of like I am that MF, bro. I am
I
that
am that
motherfucker.
mother.
Like, and if it means that, and I know this is what it means, but if this means, more videos and more content of me kind of gloating on the things I've already created, then fuck it. Then I'm gonna do more of
So
that.
be it.
Yeah, because like, and I don't think I'm gloating. I know for others they're gonna think I'm gloating, but I realize, it's now or never. Now or never.
Mhm.
I'm only gonna go higher. I'm not even in my prime yet, and so, why not have a dope ass story to share with people and for them to experience?
Absolutely. Okay, so I am going to put the comments up so you can kind of see what people have been putting in the chat because they've been in there. Your story has been very inspirational. So want
Aw,
to shout out the chat and thank you everybody that came to watch Profit. So uh
chat.
comment your comments are up there now while we are doing that and people are posting their comments. Let's go into some rapid fire questions. You ready?
Mhm.
All right. Bull market or bear market?
Currently?
Whatever you choose.
Or like where we are currently? Oh, I thought you meant like what do I prefer?
Yeah.
Uh,
What do you prefer? Bull market or bear market?
I mean, I prefer the bull because it's fun. However, bears are also fun, but currently right now we're still in a bull market, even though it doesn't feel fully like it. But the reason I say that is because of the liquidity that's still. I'm being technical, so
Yeah.
I still think we are in a bull, even though the timeline may feel like a bear. But and then to answer the second question, I prefer a bull market, obviously because it's an easy mode, but bear markets do force you to be more creative.
Okay. Next, Bitcoin or Ethereum? The
Mm.
rapid. You have to go fast. You can't. You
Bitcoin,
just spit it
Bitcoin.
out.
You're right. You're right.
Builder
Bitcoin.
or trader?
Say it again.
Builder or trader?
Builder.
Community or capital?
Community.
NFTs or RWAs?
RWAs.
Coffee or matcha?
Matcha.
Beach reset or city energy?
Beach reset.
Early mornings or late night grind?
Late night grind.
Gym session or therapy session?
Gym session.
Quiet wins or loud celebrations?
Loud celebrations.
Loud celebrations. Okay, so with that being said, we've come up to actually almost an hour and a half. I think that we might need to schedule like a second interview because there's still so much that we didn't unpack or uncover of your journey. I did have tons more of questions. And just to kind of just talk unscripted. It's like, yeah, we were gonna go unscripted, but we kind of ended up learning
It was
a little.
awesome. It was awesome. This was good.
Yes, it's like I felt like audience really needed to get to know Prophet, your story, the core of you, where you've been, who you are, what you've become, what you are becoming. And I think you are very inspirational to many. And the chat, they're like, you are inspirational. Loved your story. Now, is there any like last words, advice, parting words that you do want to leave the
Uh,
audience with?
yeah, I mean, first of all, Leslie, thank you so much. This was amazing. This was awesome. Super, super awesome. Didn't realize like I needed this. And I think, the biggest thing would be to stay true to yourself and to execute on things that interest you because of you, not because
Mhm.
you saw somebody and you think you could do it better. Sure, that could be a part of it, but like the main reason you do anything, videos, content, life, work, whatever, truly, truly find your why and like your reasoning for yourself and not the world. Because it could be very easy to do things because of something else exterior to you. So that's what I would say. True, being super true to yourself.
Abso-freaking-lutely. I think that I want to thank you too for coming on. I know that the interview was a long overdue and everybody needed to listen to your story. What began as a survival evolved into a vision of what you are building, and then the lessons that you carried from those early experiences that are continuing to guide and shape who you are today, your leadership, your community, your faith, and then reminding all of us that success is never just about where we end up, but who we become along the way. And I think that you're really showcasing that and showing all of us. So I appreciate you. I appreciate your friendship. You inspire me. You inspire all of us and what you're building. And, we can only aspire to continue to build even when there are days that we feel like we're not going to get through.
Amen. You killed it. Thank you so much again for your time. Thank you, the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in and always supporting Leslie. Definitely repost, like all that good stuff. And Leslie, anything you need, you already know. I'm in your corner as always rooting for you. Shout out to Unscripted and shout out to everything that you're doing. Let me know if you ever, want to do another one. I'm here and thank you.
Absolutely. We're going to, you know what? We're bringing you back in March. Let's see where you are after all these events. Do a part two with profits. And then that one we can completely or almost go
Hell
unscripted
yeah. Amazing. Thank
because we got lots to talk about, right?
you. Much
With that being said, everybody, stay unscripted. And if you're not following Profits and if you're not watching her interview, then what the fudge are you doing? If you don't, your bags are going to go to zero. Profits.
love.
Good night. And I'll talk to you
Bye.
later. Bye, everyone.